Hi guys, welcome to Yoga Chitta podcast. I would like to welcome Ashwin. Ashwin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Yuvraj.
Okay, so today we have an amazing topic called time. So Ashwin, could you please define or tell us what exactly is time?
So, as far as I understand, and even in yoga, um, time is measured by change. There's no other way to understand time other than change. So, time is an abstraction that we've created to measure change. That's what it is. Time, as such, is not definable on its own. Okay, so I just moved back in my chair now, and I cannot measure how much I moved or what I moved. There's one missing coordinate, right? If I only say the distance, how much I moved, the quality of my movement is not complete without that one more coordinate, which we call time. So when I say that I moved in a leisurely manner, then we're trying to describe time. And here time becomes a attitude. But in some places, we call distance itself as time. And, you know, we say Mysore is 3 hours away from Bangalore. And we're actually just talking about a distance of 180 kilometers, but we call it time. So, different places, time means different things. And there are there is no definition in time of time in physics. Like we don't really know what it is. Nobody knows. So that's why a lot of people think time doesn't exist as well. Yeah, but the yogic viewpoint is more like um, time is a ripening of the universe, and it is not necessary that the universe always ripens. Sometimes it can raw also, go backwards and get unripe as well. So that happens too. So that's what it is. Like a fruit ripens, you can say time ripens. So we are trying to always understand time with some metaphor because time itself is ephemeral. We can't put our finger on it. We don't know what it is. We can understand it by metaphor only. Depends on what metaphor you chose today morning to understand time. And sometimes people say Mahakala and Mahakali are the male and female aspects of time, and Kala is just a division that we make in space to show how things have changed. So I think the best definition is that time is an abstraction to measure how things have changed, which gives us a feeling of how things have changed. Somehow we understand change using the abstraction called time.
Okay, so this means time is always relative, cannot be absolute.
Yeah, there is no absolute time.
Okay,
When
and
you sit with someone interesting, then Einstein explained it like if you sit next to a beautiful woman, then time passes quickly. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but that's what Einstein thought. And then if you think, if you sit and do something you don't really like, you go to the dentist to get your tooth extracted, time passes very slowly.
yeah,
So it's measuring change. If things didn't change, then time seems to pass slowly. But if there's a lot of changes, then it seems like time has sped up. So it's basically that.
Uh, okay. Like sometimes, if an activity is very interesting to us, then also it seems as if the time has uh, sped up
Yeah,
because
because things are changing and it's dynamic. The more dynamic something is, the faster it seems to be. And the more passive something is and unchanging something is, or, that kind of stuff,
hmm,
then the time passes very slowly. So, like watching water boil. Put the water to boil, now you're watching it. Suddenly, time passes very slowly because nothing much is happening. When after 15, 20 minutes, when the cauldron starts boiling, then suddenly you feel that time is moving faster. So it's all about the action potential of that space. If there's more action going to happen, or if there's some energy of action going to happen, then we feel that time is moving faster there.
hmm. Okay. And is time always linear?
No, no, not at all. So changes are not linear, so time is not linear, right? Changes can be reversed too, right? Like I was diabetic, ready to die, going to die soon, and then I got my life back. So now I've reversed time. I have the health of what I had 20 years ago. I have more health than that right now. So time is reversed for me. It's never linear. It keeps going back and forth. It's like a graph. Changes are like a graph. Like changes are never linear and straight. Nothing is linear, man. Can you find one flat linear surface in nature? It's very hard to find. Of course, it's there, but it's like very rare. You find it on a crystal lattice or something like that.
Yeah.
So nothing is that
Okay.
linear in nature, including time.
Hmm. Is it always from past to future? Given, I mean, let me.
No,
Okay.
not at all. You you think about, a grown person can go to their parents, and the parents can make them feel like they're 11 years old again.
Hmm. Yeah.
The same neurology that got activated when they were 11 years old of fear and whatever. One word from the parent, and then a 32-year-old man can feel like he's 11. So we keep we keep shuttling between our past and our future. Even physically, neurologically, we keep changing. We actually are back there when we last embarrassed ourselves, or when we last failed. When you start taking up a new project, people are back in the past. Okay. So if you don't control how you move in time, we have something called a timeline. And, you know, it's a good idea to have your past in the past and your future in the future. But people don't do this, okay? You look at the timeline, you ask them some nice stuff like, well, where do you see yourself during this new year? What you're going to do? Hey, I'm going to go here to party. And where is it? It's about 10 meters in front of me. I can see the visual there. What I'm going to do. Okay? New Year. Then maybe his birthday is in February, and you ask him, when, what about your birthday? What you going to do? Yeah, this is what I have planned. And then here's New Year. And then behind New Year, he'll have another image just larger than New Year. That's his birthday party. Okay? And then you ask them, like, can you think about when you're going to die? Where do you see it? Oh, far away. I can't see it. It's very far away. Up to what age do you see yourself? 90? Yeah, 90. 100? No, I don't know. I don't think so. So he's already set the time when he's going to die. But it's very far away compared to the birthday that's coming up in February. So it might seem that the timeline is linear, okay? But it's not. If you ask someone, when do you see yourself paying your taxes? that will be behind somewhere. That's why they're not paying the taxes. That image will be stored behind. So now time is going crying, crying, they're back. When it comes time to pay the taxes, he has to reach it out from the back and pull out all his willpower. So all his energy is going backwards. I mean, we don't give energy backwards, we give energy forwards in front of us. Okay? Then if I ask him, like, what happened between you and your ex? That'll be right here on the left side. This big. Okay. Can you tell me about your divorce? Is it in front or in the side, in the back? No, it's here, right here. And it's right in front of my face. So people are storing time in a very haphazard manner. There's no proper narrative. That's why people are really bad storytellers. Ask them to tell a story, they don't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It starts somewhere, then something else happens, something else happens. So hard to get people to talk straight. So many things come in the way because they have a shitty relationship with time. They don't know how to put things in order. Okay, this is why I started a course called Kala Yantra to help people to take that. In Kannada we call it Chitrana. Last night's rice is lying there. If you leave it for a few more hours, it's going to get spoiled. So then people say, what do we do with this? We should consume it since we bought it. And then so they cut onions and they put chilies in it and they spice it up and then it's pretty good. But it's a mix of all the leftovers. So their timeline is Chitrana. Like it's just so mixed up, okay? So they have to iron it out and make their timeline uh, not discordant, you want to make it um, coherent. If your timeline isn't coherent, you don't know who the hell you are. Okay, I'm not saying you have to make a linear timeline. You can have many, many things meeting, but all your streams of timelines have to meet and form one river, which gives you power. You can arrange your timeline to empower yourself or disempower yourself. And why would you choose to disempower yourself? Just because you don't know that you can empower yourself just as easily. So people arrange it in such a way and become a mess. And nobody wants to deal with a mess. But if you made it, you better deal with it and fix it. Anyway, so that's how yogis kind of understand time. We see it as if we attune it, if everything is in tune and it all sits together, there's an energy that comes from the future. An energy comes to you, and that's amazing. And from the past, a supportive energy comes to you. From the future, um, an expansive energy comes to you, and you feel wonderful. If you got your, that's what sorted people are. They've sorted their timeline.
Okay. Um, is time travel possible?
Yeah, we do it every day. What do you mean? Is it possible? We move along changes, right? So we're traveling. If you mean, can I go back and look at where the history books got their history from and what exactly happened? For that, you need something called astral traveling. And then you can visit any historical place. You can definitely do it. Physically, also, they did a lot of experiments, during Einstein's time. And they were all secret experiments. And they did find that they could send people into the past. Maybe send things into the past, just send it away. I had a teacher called Amritanandanath, and he could just like pull things out of his pocket. He could get something which is inside a museum out like that, or he could get something from the past. He once took out a bird that is extinct from his pocket because he reached into the past and took it out just to show me. And the reason he could do that is because he knows yogic practices that help you to do that. And why does he need to do that? Just to entertain himself. He has no other goal or any agenda other than that. Because these guys are living in the lap of Her Majesty, Tripura Sundari, or Mahakali. They're just living in the lap of Shakti. There are no rules that apply to them. They can do whatever they want. Okay, so my guru, Mahadar Babaji, he can time travel. Time travel happened once to me. I was going once with a friend from, what is that place? Koshi. Kosi, yeah, Kosi. It's a river, and there's a small town named after it. From Kosi to Almora, we took one bend and we were already in Almora. We just turned the car and we were in Almora, just like that. Boom. It took us about 5 minutes. Usually it takes about an hour to get there. It was one of those things. And I had just done a Mahakali Yagna. When I did the Yagna, the dogs of the house, we were staying in the Raja's house. The dogs, the Rajaji's dogs went and got a goat, caught a goat, and dragged it by the neck to the place I was doing the Yagna. Sacrificed the goat. And then we all had to eat it because it's prasad. Anyway, on that day of the goat sacrifice, when I turned the corner, I was in Almora, and this was one of the dogs fell really sick. One of the pups fell really sick and needed a IV. Okay, and none of us knew how to administer an IV, but one of my friends stepped up and she said she'll do it. Just get the IV from Almora. So we said, okay, let's go to Almora. We got into the car. We're just driving. We're just driving. We got out of Kosi. We turned a corner and we're at Almora's corner. What? So that happened. It's happened to me several times, 3 or 4 times. Like when I started walking back from Nepal to India, suddenly I was in Uttarakhand as I was walking from the mountains. So yeah, time travel does happen. And there are a few more incidents like yeah, just you hang out with yogis, time travel will happen to you. Because it's energy, it's basically energy. If you can build that much of energy with your yogic practices, then time is something that can bend. You can walk through it, it's not a big deal. People seem to think it's some big deal. The only magic people have is Netflix. And they think they know it all also, on top of that. Oh.
Okay. I have an interesting question. It is what repeats itself in time and what doesn't repeat? As in, which laws of nature don't change with time?
Everything changes. Every law of nature changes. Yeah. Shakti's nature is change. The nature of nature is change. So all of the laws of nature are subject to change. It changes according to the yugas. And yeah, it changes, man. You go to the moon, the laws of nature are not the same. There's gravity is different there. People use some maths and then they say, yeah, 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 it's the same. It's not the same. It's different. You need to go there and experience it, at least in your astral form. Then you'll understand that things are just different. Day to day, there are slight changes in nature. Nobody's measuring it, so we don't notice, but there are changes. Like, it's not the same, man. You can't. Why would Shakti repeat herself? She has never repeated herself in billions of years. Why will she repeat herself? The search for a constant is the rebellion against Shakti. That's called ego. Huh? Rebelling against Shakti is called ego. So that's why people are searching for some constancy all the time. Somebody said also change is the only constant. Nobody heard. Oh yeah, that's constant, right? Change is constant. No, the change is changing. It's not constant. There's no constant change. No smooth acceleration. Look at the phases of the moon, and you'll see that it's wild. It's following its own rules. It doesn't sit in our 24-hour day like the sun. Sun is doing its 24 hours, almost 24 hours. Even sun is changing. It's never the same. Then suddenly you have to add like there's a big mess in Indian calendar where they had to add one Adhika Masa to make up for all the masas. It's too much work. We also like leap year once in 4 years, leap year, extra day in February. That's because nothing is constant. And even then, even so, it's just for us to get our security, our illusion of security of things changing. I don't know why you feel a sense of security when things are not changing. I feel a sense of security when everything is changing. If things are not changing, I get insecure. I'm like, what's wrong here? Some unnatural shit is going on. People want everything to be same, okay? They want the hair to be same, they want the belly to be same dimension, they want everything to be same. Like nothing should change. Why you're on this universe then? Leave now. Audience is very quiet today.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, are time and space connected?
Yeah, because it's the changes that we see in space that we invoke time to measure the changes in space. So they're definitely connected. Einstein called it space time, one thing. So they're connected, yeah, sure. Intricately and inextricably connected.
Uh, how are karmas and time related?
Yeah, karmas. Karmas are the software of space. So suddenly saying time stood still. Yeah, karmas are the software of space. And space needs a software to run it. Space is like a computer, and it needs a software to tell it what to do. So that software is karma, right? And yeah, good. Audience is asking questions also now. So you want to take some audience questions?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's take a break. Pramod is asking, can time bend backwards? Yes, it can. The places you suddenly enter and you'll be in yesterday. I know a place underwater. You can go there and then you go through it, you go through that place and you'll end up backward in time. So there are some places on the earth where you can just like go backwards in time. So it's a property of the space around there. Anyway, is the Mandela effect real? So Mandela effect is when a large group of people insist that something happened, like maybe a UFO or some event, and I don't know why it's called the Mandela effect. Though I need to look it up, but it actually didn't happen. There's no evidence that it happened, but a large group of people had that experience. Yeah, look, whatever you experience is real. Okay, uh, if you don't experience it, it's not real for you. That's it. It's that simple. If a tree falls in the forest and nobody heard it, did it fall? Nobody saw it, nobody heard it. A tree fell in the forest. Did it fall? Nobody perceived it. Of course, it didn't fall because we didn't perceive it. So everything you see is your own perception. None of it is what you perceive. It's not what you perceive. Things are not what you perceive at all, ever. So don't ask Mandela effect is real. Nothing is real. Your life, your wife, your job, your children, none of it is real. Your diseases, whatever else you identify yourself with, it's all your perception. That's it. That's about it. That's what we call Maya. So we call Shakti as Maya because she creates perception. Depends on your energy. If you have a certain amount of energy, then you can condense a perception, and that will be your reality. That's it. You condense a probability wave, right? That's what physicists would say. They're saying the same thing. In yoga, we say energy condenses matter. Every matter has an energy around it, and I've got some Kirlian photography, equipment. It's called electrophoton um, imaging. Electrophoton imaging, okay? And then you can see that any object, in your phone or your anything, whether it's plastic, whatever it is emitting energy. It's actually in a in an aura of energy. Everything is in an aura of everything is wrapped in energy. Electromagnetic fields or photons or something. So if you create the right kind of photons, then you can have any kind of reality, right? What is deja vu and how does that happen? you you can know the future, you know. Like I said, you can know time. Sometimes it slips, your energy changes, and you know the future. And when it happens, you're like, I've seen this before. That's an experience that common people have of being into the future. Like everybody's had this experience of deja vu. So that's a clue that it's an illusion. You have to understand that your perception is just an illusion. So is time an energetic construct and varies with energy in spaces. Time is a construct of change. When there's more energy, there can be more change, and therefore you can have more time. What is confusing here? I've had many clear premonitions, and within 30 minutes they've happened. Does this mean that the immediate future is fixed? Nothing is fixed. Even the present is not fixed. If you change your perception in the present, if you change your energy in the present, suddenly things are gone, right? I sent healing to my friend, and somehow it happened that her cancer vanished. Just vanished. Boom. If I tried that with some people, it didn't vanish because the our combined energies were not working. So yeah, it is about energy. I can tell you if something's going to happen or not just by looking at the energy. Anybody can. Does consciousness mean present tense? No, this present is always tense. So stop being in tension and let it be. Let yourself go to future, past, everything as and when required. Okay? Only fools want to remain in the present. Whoever wants to remain in the present, I want to whack them with something. As soon as I hit them, then they'll move out of the present. Like just hit them on the face with a foot, slap them. So many emotions will come. They'll not be present to the pain. They would have already moved from there. So don't try to remain present. It is not a spiritual practice. It is an idiot practice to try and be in the present all the time. Go where you have to go when you have to go. But go with awareness wherever you have to go. There's nothing in the present. What if the present is boring? Then I have to move from here. I cannot be in the present all the time. Okay? So consciousness can move anywhere in time. And we can't understand time as past, present, and future. That's a misunderstanding of time. It's not a linear line. Okay? When we intuit something, we sense how it will turn out before it happens, then make a decision based on it. How does time come into play? What is this difficult question? Okay, next. Ask me a question that's useful in your life. Okay? Ask the real question. You want to know something about intuition, rephrase your question so that it makes meaning to you. In yoga, there's a concept of parallel universe where there's different ends to our story. If yes, one can interact with their own self in another dimension. Yeah, you can. Why is all this extraordinary, guys? You do it all the time, right? When in your dreams. Haven't you met yourself in your dreams? No? Yeah, it's a common experience. You make a big deal out of it. Okay. What's the next question, Yuvraj?
Okay. So my next question is about yugas,
Hmm.
the four yugas: Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Satya Yuga. So why? What is the significance of uh, these yugas?
Hmm.
Why is it
Okay, yoga's not important. They're just there. Okay, it's like asking why is the Thar Desert important? It's there. It's important when you go there. Okay, why is Jupiter important? Like, it's important if you're an astronomer. Okay, so the yugas are there, and they marked by different abilities for human beings. So as the Kali Yuga ends, human beings start developing superpowers, and the Treta Yuga starts, and then the Dwapara Yuga, and then the Satya Yuga, and then the Dwapara Yuga, and then the Treta Yuga, and then the Kali Yuga. So it depends. The lengths of the yugas are very different according to time. The experience of time changes. Even though Satya Yuga is a shorter distance in space, the sun is traveling around a central black hole around which the whole Milky Way is traveling. That is an elliptical orbit. It's not a circular orbit. So the sun makes an elliptical round. So when it gets further and further away from the central black hole, human beings get more and more weak physically, like how we are right now. This is Kali Yuga. And otherwise, you've heard stories of Hanuman and Vali and, all kinds of people who, Bhima and Arjuna and all of them. They're not from this Yuga. That's why they could be so strong. That's why they could have all these abilities. And then you go one Yuga before that, then there's Ravan who used to fly through the air. And the technology also changes. And, people do cool shit like give a mango and then have four children from it. All sorts of stuff happens. Okay, cool stuff. But in Kali Yuga, also some cool stuff happens. And as Kali Yuga is ending, now then the internet came. As Kali Yuga is getting over, immortality is happening. It's going to happen now. It's possible again in this Yuga. It's going to be a common thing to be immortal, and people will be like, we need to leave this planet because we've done everything that is to be done here. Imagine the earth becomes boring because there are no mysteries on earth. Then you need to go to other planets to find mysteries. So that and all happens during the next Yuga, the Treta Yuga. The space travel and all of that stuff happens. So it's interesting that you know as the sun moves around, the changes are cyclic because it's going in a cycle. And so we know there is human record of everything. Our Puranas are a record of other yugas. It's not from, you can't understand it as history. It's only the white man who wants to understand it as history. It's like way before. There are legends from way before. And every culture has this, and then, and the Western mind comes along and says, makes everything looks ridiculous and tries to make weakness glamorous. And then we buy it also. Everyone who bought it is sick today. They're all dying. What's this? You earlier spoke about dharma and various yugas, and as Kali Yuga is getting over, how to get to the peak of the current yuga's dharma. What are the key steps? You want steps to have our body and mind to align. Say the truth, first step. That's enough. To yourself about what you feel and process it and understand your own strength or weakness. Understand how you make yourself insecure and sick. Because the next thing is superhuman powers that's coming up. It's coming up whether you like it or not. What's there not to like? But there are still some people like that makes me insecure because I just figured out my life. And now you're saying superpowers, everyone's going to get superpowers. Yeah. Yes, Abhinav, honesty is very, very valuable. Honesty is sincerity, honesty. These are the only currencies to deal with change. There's nothing else. If you have sincerity and honesty, you'll be fine. And when somebody dies, people sit and feel so bad that somebody died. My father died. My mother died. They're actually feeling bad about not their father's or mother's death. They're feeling bad about the change that now they have to do things differently. And those who welcome change will be like, oh, somebody died. That's cool. That's nice. Interesting. Things are going to change. Yeah. All right. There's two ways to interact: object against change with every fiber of your soul, or accept it with every fiber of your soul. Then you'll sit in Mahakali's lap and then she'll show you a different world. Yeah. Security is to be found in embracing change, not in resisting it. The people have the exact opposite idea of how security is to be found. Is so afraid to be rejected, because something will change. I'm delighted to be rejected because I can get rid of idiots. Taking a dump is also a pleasure, right? Eating is not the only pleasure. Emptying your bladder is also a big pleasure. Like sit in a bus for 8 hours and then the bus doesn't stop and you got a full bladder. You're going to take a leak there. Feel so much relief. Nazruddin Hodja used to wear tight shoes. And everybody asked him, why are you wearing tight shoes? He said, because you don't know the pleasure I get when I take them off. So relief is also a pleasure. Some people give you so much pleasure when they leave. Have you noticed? When I get rid of some people, I feel so happy. I feel so relaxed. Okay. So it's change, and every change can be pleasurable if you like accept it. You can be like tickled pink all the time, and you can be like rolling with enjoyment every day. If you understand that all these massive changes are Shakti, wow, it's all her. Oh wow. But no, no, why should I do that? I can sit and complain and have blood pressure medication. So what I'm saying is like humanity is now not choosing blood pressure medication. When they start choosing their pleasure, they're going to have superpowers because they have something to live for. Then people put efforts to make something, to embellish something, to make it beautiful, and they're getting pleasure out of it. Otherwise, they don't. Permanence is a jail. Who wants to be in it? Makes you sick. What's next? Sorry.
When will the next Yuga start? and how should we behave in the present and the coming Yuga?
We are in a cusp, Yuvraj, between Kali Yuga and Treta Yuga. We're in the middle right now, and we'll be there in our lifetimes. And, our lifetime is going to be long. It's going to be so long. It's not your parents' story that's going to happen to you because you're in the cusp of the Yuga. So, everybody alive now who survives this pandemic is moving into very fast paced into. I mean, there's not like one date. Like the changes of the winds of change are already there. A lot of humanity is being eliminated. This is one of many waves, the COVID. We just have to sit and hatch now. This is the new normal. Baba was very specific that this is going to happen. There'll be a time when, we'll have to sit through some changes. A lot of humanity gets wiped out. There'll also be like lots of floods before the next Yuga comes. And when all the floods are over, that's when the next Yuga comes. So every holy book mentions floods. And then they mention the day of reckoning, when people improve their subtle senses so much that they're able to see each other's auras, then they can't lie anymore. Nobody can lie to me because I can see auras, right? I can see all the kachada everywhere. Like I have to tune it out. I tune out auras so that I don't have to see the kachada. There's so much kachada. But we'll all be able to do this. We'll all be able to see each other's auras. Then we can't lie anymore. How did my life change when nobody can lie to me anymore? And when I can't lie anymore? It improved greatly. Because there's no more emperor's clothes. Everyone can say emperor's butt naked. A lot of emperors come to me with their emperor's clothes. They have a spiritual experience. It's called slapsang. It's like satsang but different. Everyone is thinking they have to live with the same powers that they were told that they have in school. You don't have to. Abhinav says, I've dreamt about floods so many times in the last 1 year. Mud floods. And then you wake up and then you just continue your life as it is. Because dreams are not real. I hope I answered everyone. Aparna, I thought you were trying to ask that question again from your vulnerability about the future, your insecurity about the future. That's why you want to know what role does time play when it comes to prediction. Basically asking how can I predict my future, right? Who wants to know how can you predict your future? Who wants to know you're an idiot? If you know the whole movie story, will you watch it? If you know the story of the whole book, will you read it? Oh, you did? We've not seen it, Aparna. It's not come to our stupid stream yet. Yeah. Oh, that's the second one. Oh my God. What role does time play when it comes to prediction? It's the same as how do I know my future? Correct now? That's a question, right? It's an idiot question. Don't never ask that. Never try to know the future. Why you need this? Yeah, anticipate what's going to happen. You can only extrapolate and then play with it. How boring would life be if you knew exactly what's going to happen? Don't worry, Shakti will never give you such a curse to know exactly what's going to happen. Even those who think that they have this power, they get screwed. So many spiritual teachers dying after making great predictions about everything. Namrita is asking, how do I best live in the present? Don't live in the present. If you're living in the present, then you're not living best. You need to know who you were in your past births. You need to know where and all your energy has been scattered. You need to pull all your stories together. Every story of yours that you pull together gives you strength. It increases your energy. Okay? So build timelines from various places to where you are and be magnificent by straddling time, not by living in the present. Okay? Do we need to manage time? No. I have put out a video on my YouTube channel and also on my Facebook page telling you how to clean your mind. And it's a video that tells you how you can how you can align yourself, how you can increase your energy and cure yourself of all the diseases that you caused yourself and all the stupidity that has happened in your life. It's a 12-minute video. The introduction is 7 minutes, and after that, there's a paid version, which is 12 minutes. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to practice. So far, it's been idiot proof, but I want more people to test it out. Anyway, it's very, very powerful so far, and I never expected it to be so powerful, and it just happened. I just created it, and it came out of me. I didn't create it, it just came out of me, okay? And I put that up for sale. So if anybody wants to purchase it, it's 10,000 rupees and it's life changing. So just get that practice and then do it. You don't need to manage your time. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Okay? Okay, so Aparna has done her third iteration. My question is how time works when we sense something in the present that hasn't happened yet. Where does time go? Do we travel ahead or does time stay static? Stop this time. Speak in terms of change. That is something you can measure and you can feel. Okay? How time works? Time doesn't work. Changes happen, then in order to speak about it, we invoke time. Time is an abstraction, it doesn't even exist. Like, have you been listening? Uh, when we sense something in the present that hasn't happened yet, when you intuit something, where does time go? Do we travel ahead or does time stay static? Don't be neurotic if you intuit something that's going to happen and it happens. Good. If you intuit something is going to happen and it doesn't happen, good. Do not use that to measure yourself. It's just Shakti at play. It's not a reflection on you. So chill out. The art of chill. Everybody needs to learn the art of chill. Everybody needs a big dose of chill. Okay? Ah. Aparna is talking about the practice. I haven't even named the practice because the guy I hired to name my practice, his father died. I wanted a unique name and I wanted to slip out of this yoga, yoga, yoga. Because everybody's polluted. Yoga is like the river Ganges. Everybody's pissed in it. It's so polluted. It's the most polluted river. All of our wastes are going into that river. That's what yoga has become. So I wanted a better name for this. And then see, the guy who was going to name it, his father died, and now indefinitely I don't have a name. Time. Change. What am I doing? I'm just working out. See, Shashank, I'm not managing time. Okay, Aparna got it. Oh, one more, one more testimonial. It's gold. Thanks, Aparna. Thank you for approving the program. So everybody, whoever wants to get on this unnamed program, go and shake yourself and ask yourself to be all powerful and just relaxed. Is 10,000 rupees worth it or not? Find out. Okay. All right. So that's the secret practice that I've been now teaching people. It just came out of me. Don't ask me where it comes from, man. It just comes because I'm a time traveler, you know. Things just come. My teacher sends it and it comes. We live in exciting times, my friend. Magic is back on this earth.
I have a question.
Hmm.
I'm not sure you answered this. How should we behave in the present and coming yugas? What should be our attitude?
Honesty starts from there. Like there's not enough cat memes to describe the importance of honesty. It is so important. It is the most important thing. Okay. If you lie about your abilities, people lie only about their abilities. If you lie about your abilities, you'll suffer a lot. To be able to evaluate yourself accurately, what's possible and what's not possible. If you can't evaluate this, you don't have honesty in your life. You're lying. We have senses only for this, to evaluate what's possible and what's not possible. It's the only reason we have senses. And if we don't know how to use them and we don't sharpen them and we don't develop them, um, I mean, Kali Yuga was great for saying lies, you know, because people couldn't see auras and all that stuff. But now people have started to sense. Like the children who are being born now can already sense energy. Have you noticed? Have you played with kids nowadays? Like just hung out with some kids nowadays. They're like super sensitive to energy. I just do some prana tricks with them and they're like so entertained because they can really feel it. I send prana from the little finger through the ears and out the other finger. And they're like, "Ah," I could feel that. Some kids can see it also. So you can't hide her. All those who are 40 years old think they can still lie. Like, no, no, you can't. Those who are 30 also are in that impression. Yes, we can lie. And those who turn 26 and are feeling the quarter life crisis, they also think they can lie. I hope there'll be a generation of kids who thinks that they can't lie anymore. Everyone is happily married. We say, how? Look at your Facebook. Oh my God. What's happening in your house? Too much lying. Too much lying. My God. That has to stop. The lying stops. Life is great. Eh? Everybody going to a fuck all job that they don't like. How is everyone an engineer in India? How is this possible? A country that builds nothing, close to nothing. Every third guy is an engineer. Like one brick fell from my roof and it hit an engineer on the head. I don't know what he was doing under my gate, delivering parcels. Nobody saw Three Idiots, I think. Or they saw it and they said, "This doesn't apply to me." One more lie. Everyone stumbles on the truth and then they pick themselves up and say, I just had a slip and I continue with my lies now. Everyone is chest thumpingly nationalist to forget the problems in their house. We have to stop lying at some point. Then we are well prepared for the next Yugas. Okay. So I'm just going to wait because it's time. You just wait and things happen. Like, you don't have to do anything. You need some awareness. You need some subtle senses, which will come after you stop lying. Then obviously you'll want those subtle senses to sense the truth closer and closer, so that you can live an accurate life, an effective life, and a powerful life. When you start desiring such things, then obviously you'll get equipped for it. Don't get motivated when shit hits the roof. Then only people move their butt. You have to get motivated before that. Try to get motivated before shit hits the ceiling. Then you're getting prepared for the next Yuga, where we actually want to live life. You can't, where you won't be able to sell art like artist shit. Nobody will buy it. You know that, right? Damien Hirst or someone sold their shit in a can for millions of dollars. As I get wealthier, I'm starting to understand rich people's problems. Like when you have too much money but you don't want to pay tax, then you'll have to go buy something like this. Sukanya is asking, as we grow up, the sense of intuition gets lost because of lies. Yeah, that's right. Children are very intuitive, and then we lie to them and then we make them insensitive. Yeah. Smithy says Satya starts with Icha. That's right. If you start recognizing your true desires and you stop lying, you can just start with your true desires. That's enough. Enough to motivate you. We don't even know what we truly desire because we're so caught up in our lies. And we need to extract ourselves. Anyway, it's another story. Do you have any other questions? It's almost an hour.
Yeah, I
It
don't have
is,
any
in fact,
questions.
more than an hour. Okay. So thank you everybody for sitting around for an hour. You hour is also time. Thanks for spending your time. If you have no more questions, then we'll call it a day, a night, or whatever you want to call it. They're all units of time. So have a great time. Nobody has questions. I hope you got some value and then you became sober. If you feel more sober, type MS in the chat box. And whoever wants to buy my revolutionary program, please get in touch and Google pay me the amount and buy it. It's totally good. Yeah, it's good shape. Very proud of that shape. Samir is saying, I'm feeling more sober. Shweta says, I'm feeling sober. Shashank says, super sober. Okay, great. Sukanya says, I'm feeling sober. Wonderful. Okay, then that is the aim I feel of Yoga Chitta, to make people feel sober so that they can be powerful. Okay, great. Shobha says got value. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night, and we'll see you again next week as usual with some other dhamakedar stuff. All right. Have fun. Yeah, Yuvraj, we can end right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ashwin. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye.